Hi, did you know that life is a check mark? That our story is full of check marks. A check mark, if you can see, it starts from top, goes down to the bottom, then goes up. That is how most everybody's life is arranged. That our life is programmed in such a way that when our story is finally read, it will be read as small check marks. Through life, what is your story? And how will your story be read? At times you can say that life is unfair to you. It isn't unfair to you. That is how it was meant to be, and that is how it is programmed to be. So your story, or my story, is a check mark. Let me give you a brief about the system of life. And this is how true happens to us. In that graphic system of life, when we are young, we have the time, but we don't have the money. But we have the energy too. So there are three components which are very important in one's life: time, money, and energy. In the middle of your life, when you in your other life, you don't have the time, you have the money, and you have the energy. You don't have time because you are busy making money. And when you get old, you have the time, you have the money, but you don't have the energy. That is is a natural law of life that you can never change, and you have to accept it that way. Now, let us look at life. As I said, as a check mark, there is a start, there is your low point, and your end point. And one thing you have to see about this life is that you will have to hit rock bottom in one way or the other in the entire life as you continue with life. So what does this mean? That you will start on top, go low, and then go up. And that's how God has designed your life in so many things. Before you go up, you see the check mark where it's going up is going longer than when it came down. And in most of that is how we pass through life. Now, God is working on you, on your life during the check mark. At the bottom, the top of the small where you start from is God challenges you. You get challenges. Then when you hit rock bottom, that is when you are passing through the crucible of life. God is refining you. God is refining you, preparing you for greater things. And then the check mark will be going up when now God is honoring you for passing through the crucible. Let me give you a practical example. King David in the Bible. You know, he had started where he was born in a family as the youngest in the family. He had his share of life. He had many challenges. So when he was going through challenges, he went to the bottom. And when things were very hard, he was reminded by God. And after passing through those trials, God was preparing him for the task ahead to be the king of Israel. And after that, he rose up and built the greatest kingdom, became a great leader. So, even you in your life, you are a king in your own way. You will pass through challenges, and as you are passing through these challenges, just know that God is preparing you to honor you. When you are in difficult situations, you will meet difficult situations in life. Just know that you are at the bottom of your check mark. And from there, you only have one choice, is that you are going to rise up, you will be refined, and then you go up in life. So in life, in many situations, it's a combination of small check marks. Now, let's see our life series, how we go through life. Childhood, you could be having your own check mark. When you come to school life, you had your own check mark. You had your highest, you had your bottom. Even when you get employed, you are in a career, there is a check mark. You start a career very well, then something happens, it goes down. But when you pass through the crucible and go up, you will be going and rising up. Even in your marriage, you will be starting very well. At one time, you will hit the rock bottom. But when you come from here, you will rise and go up. The same thing with orange. Now, let me give you an example of David. David, when he was young, as a child, in his childhood, he was a loved child, a young child, but most of the time he was relegated to taking care of the sheep. So at that time, as a child, he must have reached his bottom. But then, as he was taking care of the animals, he was at his rock bottom. But when Samuel came and anointed him the king, he rose as a child. They would see leadership in him as young as he was, but they saw that. That was a check mark in childhood. Does that relate to you? You could have had a very difficult childhood. Maybe you could have born well, then you were sick, or something happened. But you still, when you look back, you rose up, and it was a check mark. Come to school life. You could start very well in school. Something happens, you didn't do well in your exam as you wanted. You must have reached your rock bottom. But you did not stop there. You still passed through that crucible, and when you rose from there, your check mark went up. Equally, as David, after he was anointed, he killed Goliath. He thought he was up there. People sang that Saul killed his hundreds, but David has killed his 10,000s. But what happened? Saul became an enemy, and they wanted to kill David. David had to run to the wilderness. He slept in the caves. He went through those challenges and wondered why King David wanted to kill him. He tried. You can read the story how he went to live in God. The kings, how they treated him. He passed through difficult times. He got scoundrels whom he turned. He became a junta. One time he was a junta in the wilderness. He did not have our kingdom. He was just a junta. Everybody was looking for him. He had a very difficult life. Remember one time when he was trying to go to war with another kingdom, and then the Amalekites came and they killed everybody in his group, and the group turned against him. He was so devastated. He was passing through a school of life, but he passed from there and he became a very strong person. Does that relate to you? At times you will start very well in your life. You know, in your life there is a school of life. You are taught when you have good intentions, people turn against you, then you hit the rock bottom. Just remember, God does not forget you. When you are in the rock bottom, you will rise up. And when you rise up from that situation, you will go up, you will go higher on that ladder. Yes, even in your career, the same. You will start a good career, you get a good job, but politics comes in. Either you are fired or you are demoted. You will be in your rock bottom. But remember, God will help you, will refine you. At that time, when things are not working for you, God is refining you. So, as always, remember that life is a checkmark. If you look at so many stories in the Bible, everybody had his checkmark. Abraham had his checkmark. He was told to leave his people where the environment he was used with his colleagues, clansmen, to move to another town. He must have been lonely when he went there, and he was hitting rock bottom. He was promised by God to be a great nation, but what happened? He did not get a child. How was he going to be a father of a great nation when the wife was barren? You can see all those. God was refining him. And indeed God kept his promise that he made him a father of a great nation. So remember, life is a check mark. When things are difficult for you, just know that God is smelting you in the crucible of life and refining you, and from that place you will rise to the top. Thank you.